How does it all look? Is my hair good? It's all good.
Because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family.
Well, that's just not true.
I didn't know much about him.
Well, that's just not true. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome will be, but definitely not good.
It's a shocking story that no one saw coming, but here we are. The truth is starting to seep through the cracks of royal facades, and it's enough to make anyone's jaw drop. Prince Harry, the man who once walked away from his royal life, now finds himself rushing back to the UK. Why? What could possibly have shaken the confidence of someone who turned his back on his family, on a life of luxury and status? Well, let me tell you, it's because the walls are closing in, and the past Harry so desperately tried to escape, it's come roaring back. And it all starts with a name, Ghislaine Maxwell. Once a name that echoed in the corridors of power, now a convicted inmate with a tale to tell. Her silence, once so powerful, has started to crack, and she's talking. She's spilling secrets, dropping names, and throwing everything into chaos. And one name has made waves in California, causing Meghan Markle's world to tremble. Now, we've all heard the rumors, the whispers of Meghan Markle's connections to some seriously shady characters from her pre-royal days. But when someone like Ghislaine Maxwell starts talking, those rumors are no longer just whispers, they're evidence. Solid legal evidence. She's started naming names, and not just the ones we all suspected. She's pointing fingers at people who seemed like they were on the periphery but were dangerously close to the heart of the scandal. But let's take a step back for a moment. The story we're about to uncover doesn't start with Ghislaine Maxwell. It starts in a place where the wealthy and the powerful cross paths, Soho House. On the surface, it's an exclusive club for creatives, but behind the velvet ropes, Soho House was a gateway to the dark world of private wealth and discretion.
Meghan was an Epstein girl, that she worked in the adult entertainment industry, and that she was.
And guess who frequented this hotspot of the rich and famous? Meghan Markle. Not as the Duchess we know today, but as a regular at events where only the ultra-wealthy and the elite mingled. A young Meghan, trying to make her way, rubbing shoulders with men whose wealth and power were enough to make anyone second-guess their morals. Now, don't get me wrong, Meghan wasn't at Soho House just for the free cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. But no, she was there to make a name for herself, to make connections that would serve her future well. And let's be honest, how does a B-list actress making a decent salary from a TV show afford a lifestyle that screams A-list? First-class flights, 5-star hotels, designer clothes, constant access to exclusive events? The math didn't add up. People noticed. They started whispering. But here's the thing. No one dared to speak out. Not then. In elite circles, you don't accuse someone without concrete proof. You simply observe. And they observed. They saw Meghan moving through spaces that only the rich and powerful should inhabit. The questions remained unanswered until they didn't. Because now, those questions matter more than ever. Fast forward a few years, and Meghan Markle is no longer a background player. She's a royal, a member of the British monarchy married to Prince Harry. And now, all those questions, all that quiet suspicion starts to feel like it was never really in the past. It's a different lens, a new narrative, one carefully crafted and managed. But as we know, even the most carefully managed narrative can come undone. Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony has reopened those old wounds. Her name has surfaced in connection with the world that Meghan was once a part of. And the questions people have been asking for years about Meghan's past, her connections, her mysterious rise to power are now part of an official investigation. There are no longer just whispers. There are official records, questions that demand answers. Remember, Meghan wasn't just in the wrong place at the wrong time. No, she was moving in circles, attending exclusive events, even connecting with the kinds of men who valued secrecy above everything else. The kind of men whose names were linked to some of the darkest scandals of our time. And now her name too is in the mix. The fairy tale everyone thought was just that, a fairy tale, is quickly crumbling. It's because when the royal family starts to investigate, they look at everything. They looked at Meghan's movements, her proximity to certain people, and the events she attended. And let's not forget the legal drama involving Prince Andrew, where Meghan's name came up. She wasn't a defendant, but she could have been called to testify. Why? Because her connections, her presence in those circles mattered. And that, my friends, is where the real story begins. Prince Harry. The man who built a new life in California away from the toxic grip of the royal family suddenly finds himself rushing back to London. Not for a visit, not for some ceremonial event. No, Harry is going back to the very institution he claimed to escape, the one that has survived scandal after scandal. Why? Because now, with all these legal proceedings, the walls are closing in. And Harry, who once mocked the royal family's methods of handling such crises, is realizing that he needs that very system more than ever. But here's the thing that could destroy him. What did Harry know about Meghan's past? And when did he know it? If Harry knew about her connections to these people, about her lifestyle, about the questions surrounding her financial past, then he was complicit. He chose to bury it, to present a sanitized version of Meghan's history to the public and to his family. That makes him part of the story, not just a victim. But if Harry didn't know, if he was so blinded by love that he never asked the hard questions, then he's been living a lie that could unravel everything he's built. His children, his reputation, his future. It's a devastating scenario, no matter how you look at it. This isn't just tabloid gossip anymore. This is about real legal questions, real testimony, and real investigations. Meghan's past doesn't stay buried forever, and once the truth starts to come out, no amount of PR or carefully crafted narratives can cover it up. The fairy tale is over. The walls are closing in, and Harry knows it. He didn't come back for a reunion. He came back because the past, once buried, is now front and center. He may have left the royal family behind, but when the truth demands to be heard, even the most powerful institutions in the world can't protect you from it. The real question remains, did Harry know all along, or is he just finding out now? Either answer is a disaster waiting to happen. As Harry rushes back to the UK, it's not just the royal family's reputation at risk, it's his own future. The choice to leave, to take Meghan out of the palace's confines, was supposed to be an act of freedom, an escape from the suffocating grip of royal protocols, an attempt to build a life of independence. But what happens when that very freedom starts to look like a carefully orchestrated lie? Let's not forget what Harry's words once meant. When he tore apart the royal family's reputation during his Oprah interview, he didn't just talk about the pressures of royal life. He painted his family as cold, cruel, racist, and toxic. He denounced everything he was born into, everything that had defined him for decades. And it wasn't just words. Harry publicly distanced himself from it all. He claimed his family was the problem, and he was the solution. But here's the kicker. The irony is staggering, because now, after his emotional expose, Harry is returning to the very family he once accused of being so dysfunctional. And why? Because the walls are crumbling around him. Those same walls, the ones that had once trapped him in a gilded cage, now seem like his only hope for survival. Let's look at the way the royal family handles scandals. People forget that they have a system in place. Decades of experience in surviving disasters and holding things together when the world is watching. They have a network of lawyers, advisors, and media experts who specialize in cleaning up messes and making things disappear. And those same systems are now available to Harry in ways that at the time of his escape seemed like a prison. But now, it's exactly what he needs, a fact he's slowly coming to realize. There's no denying that Harry has been in a constant battle. On the one hand, you have the royal family's unshakable influence. On the other, you have Meghan, a woman whose past continues to haunt their public image. Harry's life has become a balancing act. He spent years telling the world how happy he was to be away from the monarchy, but now, when everything comes crashing down, who does he turn to? The very institution he claimed to have rejected. It all comes down to one thing: trust. The trust Harry had in his wife, the trust he had in his decision to leave everything behind, and the trust he thought he could place in the new life they'd built. But what happens when trust gets shattered? When Harry starts to question everything he believed about his life with Meghan? Was he so swept up in the romance that he didn't stop to ask the questions that matter? Let's break it down. When the news first broke about Meghan's past, people were quick to dismiss it. But now, as the legal proceedings unravel, what was once a mere whisper is now undeniable. The patterns are there: the lavish lifestyle, the connections to powerful men, the travel to far-off places, and the questionable circumstances that seem to follow her every step. Some might say, why doesn't it matter? She's married to Harry now, and they're building their own life. But the past doesn't just vanish. It's like a shadow that follows you, always lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to make itself known. Meghan, now a member of the royal family, was supposed to be the fresh breath of air the monarchy needed. But as her past becomes increasingly intertwined with the scandalous circles she once frequented, people start asking, how much did Harry know? When did he learn the truth? Was he kept in the dark, or was he complicit in covering it up? And here's where it gets even messier. If Harry knew about the questions surrounding Meghan's past, what What does that say about his motivations, his actions, the decisions he made in the name of love? Imagine for a second you've left everything behind for love. You're in California, away from the toxic palace life, surrounded by your own freedom. But then, when the heat turns up, the one thing you thought you could escape comes rushing back, and it's much worse than you thought. The situation is a powder keg with Meghan's past ready to ignite. Harry may have thought he was free, but he's now trapped in a web of his own making, and the only way out? To face it head on, no matter the cost. As the investigation into Epstein's world deepens, those quiet questions about Meghan's ties to it are only growing louder. And it's not just the public that's watching. The royals, they're watching too. They're taking notes, analyzing every move, and waiting to see what happens next. They may have survived scandals before, but the very nature of this one is different. This is about connections, power, and influence. All the things the monarchy has carefully cultivated over centuries. And now they have to ask themselves, is this really the kind of person we want representing us? But here's the real question. Is Meghan Markle the one who's truly under the microscope? Or is it Harry too? He can't escape the fact that his entire life has been built on an illusion. He left the royal family in search of authenticity, but now he's staring at the very system he once rejected, wondering if he made a colossal mistake. And with Ghislaine Maxwell talking, the truth is starting to unfold. What happens next will change everything for Harry, Meghan, and the royal family forever. If the truth continues to unravel, if more details about Meghan's past come to light, where does that leave Harry? Can he continue to stand by his wife? Or will he be forced to choose between loyalty to the woman he loves and his family, whose survival depends on the very secrets Meghan's past might expose? This is more than just a scandal. It's a ticking time bomb, and Harry may have already made his choice, but the world will soon know if it was the right one. So, what do you think? Was Harry in the dark, or did he help cover up Meghan's past? Let me know in the comments, because this story is far from over. And trust me, it's going to get even crazier from here. Even crazier from here. Even crazier from here. Even...